Hi, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are having a great day. It's actually Memorial Day today and I'm at my in-laws' house, so that's why I'm in a different setting. But I figured I would film here and actually utilize some natural light, so I apologize if the lighting is changing a little bit. But I wanted to talk about the books that I would love to get to in June. June is my birthday month. I'm really excited. I'll be turning 24, which can't believe I'm 24 and have 2 degrees now. It's crazy life change. We're going to be moving in the middle of the month. So lots of fun, new, exciting things are happening. But I wanted to share what I hope I will be able to get to this month because realistically, I don't know if I'll be able to read all of these. But I wanted to start with some of the books I've already talked about in my anticipated thriller release video, which I will link above. Go check that out if you want some more in-depth information about these books. But I wanted to share what they're about because I'm really excited for them and they all look so good. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first book that I would like to mention is The Photographer by Mary Dixie Carter. And this is basically an obsession book. That's all I really know about it. And on the back of the book it says, "When perfect images are made of beautiful lies, the truth will be exposed." So I'm kind of wanting to go into this blind and it sounds really good. It sounds like the narrator is sort of unreliable. And if that's done well, it can be really great for a thriller. So I'm excited to check this out if I have time this month. The next book I want to talk about is The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Harris. And this is about a black girl who works in a publishing company and she's tired of being the only black woman at the company. So now, flash forward, there's a new black woman coming to work there, but she starts getting some threatening messages on her desk and she tries to figure out what is going on and why she's receiving these sinister threats. Alright, this next one I'm so excited for. I really want to make sure I get to this month, and it's called Dead Girls by Nekesa Afia. And first of all, this book is stunning. The cover is beautiful, and as soon as I saw this cover, I had to know what the book was about, and it sounds equally as interesting. So this takes place in Harlem in 1926, and a bunch of young black girls like Louise are turning up dead. So she gets arrested after an altercation with a police officer. She is given the ultimatum of either helping the police figure out what's going on or having a judge make an example of her. So I love the setting of this novel, 1926 in Harlem. I know that she works in this really cool club and I just feel like the atmosphere of this novel will be really cool. The next book I'd like to talk about is a YA thriller and it's called Ace of Spades, and I've been seeing this book cover everywhere. It's absolutely stunning, and this is a YA thriller and it is kind of Pretty Little Liars / Gossip Girl-esque. Basically, there's 2 students who are attending this elite boarding school and they appear to have really perfect lives, but someone starts anonymously texting them and sending them threatening messages, and they're trying to reveal their secrets to everyone, and it sounds really good. And I just can't wait to dive into this. I feel like the setting is going to be really fun in an academic setting, and also I personally really liked Pretty Little Liars growing up. I really enjoyed that show. I thought A and the premise of A was really interesting and kind of scary, to be honest. I never watched Gossip Girl, but comment down in the comments if you watched either of those shows. That's a little tangent. This book looks super good and I'm really excited to get into it. The next novel I'd like to talk about is A Dark and Secret Place, and this is by Jen Williams, and this one sounds fantastic. A woman finds out that her mother had actually been secretly corresponding with a serial killer for years and years, and that's all I know about this one because I like going in blind. And actually this comes out on June 8th, which is my birthday, so that's so exciting and I hope it's a really good read. The next book I'd like to mention is The Family Tree, and this is written by 2 authors, Steph Mullin and Nicole Mabry. This is about a woman who takes a DNA test and she actually finds out that not only is she adopted, but that she is related to a serial killer. So as soon as I heard this summary, I was hooked. I have to read this book. It looks super interesting. Basically, she's related to a tri-state killer who is kidnapping women in pairs and they're not turning up again. So she tries to figure out who this person is in her family as well as try to save the victim. So the stakes are very high and this this sounds like a really good book. I hope it's great. My two most anticipated reads for this month by far are Survive the Night by Riley Sager and The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. These books look so good. I have been waiting for Survive the Night ever since I read all of Riley Sager's books in the fall. I absolutely adore Riley Sager. I feel like that is not news. Anyone who watches my channel knows I love Riley Sager, and I will be making a comprehensive guide to Riley Sager this week and putting it out. I'm very excited. I'm going to talk about what book Riley Sager has written may be best for you, as well as just give my thoughts and reviews on each of them. Spoiler free, of course, because his twists are so good. Survive the Night takes place in the 90s, and it is about someone who may be stuck in a car with a serial killer, and that's all I know about it. I know that there is a campus killer, and that may be the man who's driving the car of this woman named Charlie, and it sounds very interesting, and I can't wait to read another Riley Sager novel. I find his writing style is just so easy to soak up. It's not overly complicated, and I just fly through his books. I love his twists, and even though there are kind of a lot of similarities between his novels, I still find that he does each trope very well, and I just have a blast reading Riley Sager. So The Maidens is my other most anticipated read, and this book is by Alex Michaelides, and he wrote The Silent Patient, which I really loved. I thought it was extremely fast-paced, and I really enjoyed his writing style as well. So it had a great atmosphere as well, and when a book has a good atmosphere, I just notice that I love it 10 times more, even if the plot isn't as good as it could be. So I absolutely loved The Silent Patient, but The Maidens is about a woman who is actually a group therapist, and she suspects that this Greek tragedy professor at Cambridge University is a killer, and a body turns up and she becomes obsessed with proving that he is the killer. And there's also this secret society of women who are obsessed with this Greek tragedy professor, and they have called themselves the Maidens. So this sounds really good. I hope it's just as good as The Silent Patient. I love the twist in The Silent Patient. I did not see it coming, and I just flew through that book, so I hope I will fly through this one and love it just as much. And I also really love academic settings, so this takes place at a university as well. I will be reading Arsenic and Adobo, and this looks like a cozy, cute little mystery. This is by Mia P. Manansala, and this is actually for my friend Jan's book club. It's called the Full Moon Book Club, and it's the pick for June, so I'm really excited to participate in that. But this book is about a woman named Lila, and she decides to go back home after a really tough breakup. She decides to start working at her aunt's restaurant, but actually her ex-boyfriend comes in, and he is a notorious food critic, and he tastes something she's made. Now, the catch is, as soon as he leaves, he drops dead, and it looks like she's the one who killed him. However, she didn't kill him, so now she's left to try to figure out who murdered her ex-boyfriend. So this sounds really fun, and I know that a lot of people have said this is just such a cozy mystery, and there's a lot of Filipino food talked about that sounds delicious, so I'm really excited to read this book. Alright, so I have been saying for months and months and months that I want to read It by Stephen King when I move, and this is my moving month, so I'm really excited. I'm going to try to devour this book. It is so long, it's over 1,000 pages, but it's a classic horror novel, and I really think I need to read it. It's a staple for Stephen King, it's a staple for horror, and I want to tackle this book. So I think I'm going to be listening on audiobook. I'm a little bit nervous though, to be honest, because Stephen King always has so many different characters, and sometimes it's hard to keep those straight for me. But I will probably just make a list of all the character names that I probably need to know, and I will try to read this book. I also want to do a vlog while I'm reading it, and I think I'm going to combine it with a moving vlog. So I'm really excited to get to this, and it's just a perfect read for the summer because it does take place in the summer, but it's also very creepy. So I figured that this was a perfect time to read it. Another classic horror book that I'm really looking forward to reading is the Amityville Horror. That took me literally like 50 times to say. I hope I never have to say that again. This book is by Anson, and I'm actually buddy reading it with Jordaline over at Jordaline Reads, and I'm very excited. This book was written in the 1970s and really scared the heck out of people then, so I hope it scares me now. This is about a family moving into their dream home, which always happens to be too good to be true in horror movies. So they move in, but a year before, a child there actually murdered his whole family. And so this house seems to be possessed by evil spirits, and 28 days later, the family is fleeing the heck out of the house. And it sounds like a really fun paranormal experience, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard some people say, you know, it's not that scary, but I still want to give it a shot, and I think it really could have some potential to be a very fun mood read. So I'm very excited for this next book, and it was kindly sent to me by the publisher, Olivia Flaggert, and it is called Serial Cheaters, and this is basically a novel about a bunch of serial cheaters kind of just turning up dead. And Amy Carson is a detective, and this is the biggest case that she's had yet, and she's trying to stop the killer who's killing the cheaters out there. And it says this is good for lovers of Dexter, They Never Learn, and You, and that sounds like a perfect vibe. And if you don't know, They Never Learn is probably one of my favorite thrillers of all time. I loved that book. I just ate it up completely. So I'm really excited to dive into this. It's so cute, and I actually made a reel over on Instagram of everything that came in the box that she sent me. It was so cute, so go check that out if you want some cute, adorable thriller lover content. The last book I want to talk about is The Girl in 6E, and this is basically about a woman who locks herself up in her apartment because she wants to murder everyone, and she's a cam model, and that's how she makes her income. So it sounds really interesting to me, and I actually found this book at Half Price Books, so I decided to pick it up, and I'd love to get to it this month. I've had this on my TBR actually for years, and yeah, I'd love to get to it. Alright, so that's everything on this ambitious June TBR. I'm really excited to see what I can read this month, and I hope it's a great month. I hope you all have a nice Memorial Day weekend, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.